I was hanging out with a friend the other day, helping him shoot some social media content for his Instagram and TikTok and things like that, and we were outside at this chapel in Austin, Texas. Up the sidewalk a little bit, there was some wind chimes, and of course I could not stop myself. I had to take a field recording of that. I just thought that they sounded so nice, so I pulled out my phone, which sometimes the best microphone is the one you have on you, and all I had really at the time, aside from my camera, was my phone, so I just took a quick recording of those wind chimes. As you can hear, there's a lot of wind noise in there, but we can take care of that and turn this into something fun. So I'm going to be in Logic, and I just airdropped my field recording from my phone to my Mac Mini, drag that from the downloads folder right into Logic, and start working on stuff here. So let's take a listen to that. Yeah, lots of wind noise, which we can easily clean that up, even if you don't have any software like Isotope RX, which I do have. I'm not going to use that because not everybody has that, but we can just EQ that. So let's take a look and see where that is. Yeah, there's a lot going on down here in the low end, which we don't really need. So I'm going to make this kind of more of a harsh cut, and we're going to just get rid of this low end, which should clean up a lot of that wind noise. I'm going to loop this. So it gets rid of some of the characteristics of the recording itself as well, but that's okay because now that wind noise kind of sounds like tape warble, which I think is really cool. It's probably an effect that I would put on anyway. And then let's boost some of these higher frequencies. I really like the way that sounds, and like I said, the wind noise turning into sort of like a fake tape warble doesn't really bother me. I'm going to trim this up at the beginning here. And I'm going to add a fade in. Yeah, that'll work for me. If we wanted to just use this as an audio file the way that it is, I think we could throw on something cool like Space Blender, or you know what? Let's stick with all stock Logic stuff. Let's put in ChromaVerb, which is one of the stock reverbs available in Logic. And we'll flip through some presets here. Bring up the wet amount. That sounds nice. Cave. Hey, that always sounds good to me. That's really cool. I wonder if that stays if we were to bounce this. How will that sound? Freeze does not stay, so let's unmute this. I want the freeze, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new audio track, and we will have this be a bus 1. We'll switch that to stereo. Then up here, these bells, we're going to want to send this to bus 1. Turn that up to 0. Actually, let's do -3. And then this, we'll arm that to record. Then this will record what's coming out of that first channel. So that's called resampling. But the reason that I want to do that here is because I want to enable the freeze on this sample and record that. So we'll hit record. We'll turn on the freeze in ChromaVerb. And now this resample track that we're doing, this is going to be this, because we found out that bouncing it with the freeze on doesn't work the way that I thought it would. So now we have this resampled. That should be long enough. And that It starts right around here. Cut that here. Great. So let's do a couple things here. Let's open a new software instrument track. We'll do Logic's built-in sample Alchemy. We can just drag these bells right into sample Alchemy. And now if you have a MIDI keyboard, you can just play this instrument now. So let's put a reverb on here. Go back to ChromaVerb. Set these to loop. Send one in reverse from the end to that middle point. You can turn the attack up here in Sample Alchemy. So that sounds really cool. Another thing we can do is we can take this original and we can stretch it out by, what is that, 6 right now? So 12 would be double. Let's put it at 24. Let's hear how that sounds. So this will be really cool in Sample Alchemy. That is so nice. So that's the stretched one, and then we have that freeze bounce, the freeze resample here. Let's put that in Sample Alchemy. See how that sounds. Let's do classic on this one. So because that track originally was frozen, it's more of a sustained note than the chapel bells, the wind chimes that were kind of just, you know, a few different pitches. Because this is the frozen reverb, it's a more consistent pitch. So playing chords and stuff should sound a little bit better this way. Now we can do the same thing here. We can stretch this. So this is at 10. Let's put it at 20. So we'll double the length here. And we'll put that in Sample Alchemy. And now we have the stretched version. And here's the bells again. We can put like a delay on here. This sounds amazing. Wow. If you want the sample, I'm going to put it up on the Field Tone Audio Patreon for free. There are paid tiers at the Feel Tone Audio Patreon that include some extra goodies, such as our most recent sample packs, Dust 1 and Drift 1. If you sign up for the $6 tier, you can get immediate access to those. They are $5 on their own, so $10 for both or $6 through Patreon if you want to get those. But yes, this will be up available for free members. If you want to just grab this sample, do whatever you want with it. I'll include all three of these, the original, the stretched, the reverb freeze, so you can play with those. And I'll leave the EQ on so you don't have to worry about that low end. Or I'll put the original in there too if you want that. I don't know why you would want that, but I'll put it in there just in case. Thank you for watching. Happy creating. We'll talk soon.